Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Champs Drink Champs. I am here solo, your host Shelby, for a solo episode today. I've actually really been wanting to do this episode. And I hoped to have like way more energy and mental space before I did it because like it was already planned, but I just had mouth surgery last week, so I'm going to try and talk really clear, but my mouth is still very sore and also a bit swollen. So those watching me on YouTube, shout out to the chipmunk. But yeah, so oral surgery totally wiped me out for the past week, and it's made it a bit difficult for me to have energy. I'm in a lot of pain, all sorts of things. So here we are. Anyways, I'm really excited about this episode and this topic because it's now October and it's been officially a year since I was putting in my notice at my last job, taking a new job, going through something really intense personally. And now we're here a year later, and I throughout the year had a lot of moments of just like, wow, life is crazy. I can't believe this is happening, X, Y, and Z. And now that I'm here, still standing a year later, I'm just like, again, in shock and awe. And I thought it would be like a great topic to talk about. I don't know if it's going to really resonate with anyone. Maybe it's just my own personal like diary and therapy session. I have no idea, but I'm hoping that it can help somebody out there. And yeah, bring some perspective and some positivity and some vulnerability to the conversation. So that is why I wanted to have this topic of just I don't know, reflecting on a year, like what really came to my mind consistently was just like, I cannot believe how much can truly happen in just 1 year. Like right now, knowing that it's only been basically 365 days is just insane to me, and that it went so fast and I experienced so many different things, like good, bad, whatever, so many highs, so many lows, so many like what the fucks, and just like tears and happiness and experiences that I'm just shocked that they can all happen in a year. So that's basically the purpose and focus of this conversation, and just talking about the journey from leaving my toxic job to where I am now, and the different things that I went through, where my mental state was leading up to that, how it's been throughout the year. And yeah, just really trying to help people realize like how much can happen in just 1 year of your life. So that's the quick and dirty introduction of the topic. I'll try not to get like all over the place. I don't know if it's just my anxiety or what, but I swear when I do like solo episodes, I feel like I'm just like all over the place and I never make any sense. So I'm going to try really hard to make sure that I'm following my guide that I made with my notes. But if I don't make sense, super sorry. And again, super sorry if my speaking is not very clear. I'm trying really hard, but my mouth is in a fuck ton of pain. So there you go. Hold on. Needed to start with a sip of wine. All right. So let's talk about where I was a year ago. 1 year ago, right now, I was still in the thick of school. Definitely regretting the fact that I went back to school. I was dealing with something severely painful and deep personally. I don't really have like the capacity to go into that right now. Some people know about it, some people don't, but that was like going on at the time, a few months before October. Actually, it was really starting in like January of 2022. I was really like, I can't work at this job anymore. Like something is wrong. At first, I didn't know if it was like the job. it was mostly just like I was starting to just feel like super burnt out, super exhausted. I wasn't wanting to show up to work. I kept just being like, why do I have to get up and go to work? Like, I hate going to work. I dread it every single day. And that's not me. Like, I normally love my job. I normally love going to work. I normally would never be like, how can I get out of work? And I was constantly like in my head, like, how can I get out of work? But what really like stuck out was um my assistant operations manager, she was like, listen, I can't keep working here. It's so fucked up. I have to leave. I'm going to be looking for a job. And I was like, okay, well, I support you because like I want what's best for you for sure. And I won't really say anything to anyone until you're ready, but I will like slowly have us start working on stuff so that like I'm not fucked when you leave. Um, in case we can't replace you immediately, X, Y, and Z. And so knowing that my like support system, the person that had been like getting me through work every day, knowing that she was leaving, I started to be like, holy shit, like, how am I going to make it through this, like, every single day here? Like, and I hadn't really, like, I knew it was toxic, but I never really like sat down and dealt with so many parts of the toxicity. And so as she started going to job interviews and talking about all these different jobs that she was like applying for and how cool they could be and the experiences, I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I should probably start putting myself out there. Like, I don't want to be here either. I don't want to be left here without her. So I put together a resume, hadn't done that in almost 10 years, hadn't tried to apply for jobs in almost 10 years. So this is early in 2022. And trying to deal with all of these applicants and show up and like have people want to interview me was insane. Like, I was applying for so many jobs. I applied for like over 150 jobs and was just being rejected left and right. Like, no opportunities were coming my way and I was being super defeated. She hadn't found anything she for sure wanted yet. And so it was like, okay, but once she officially was like leaving, I was like, holy shit. Like, and I was getting super discouraged. And so then I was like, okay, maybe it's just me, maybe it's not work. Like, I can do this. Like, how can I try and find like more positivity at work? What opportunities can I find? And I would like talk to my boss and try and create things that I could find passion for again and find success and wins in. And it just like kept being met with like, I don't know, the toxicity that had always been there. And it was just like never going to be a thing. And so I was like, all right, well, I still need to get through each day. I still have a team to lead. I still have a job to do. And like the job itself was easy. It was not challenging me at all. I could do it blindfolded. Like, I'd already done so much at that company to fix so many issues. And I had built a really great team and processes that like everything was running smoothly. So my everyday was just dealing with like drama and people and like day-to-day nonsense. It was never like any real projects that were satisfying me. So eventually I wasn't able to get any jobs and I was like, I need to take a break. Like, this is affecting my mental health because I feel like a total loser, that no one will take me. And like, maybe I'm not as successful as I thought I was. And I like truly believed that like something was forcing me to stay at my job. Like, the universe was like, no, 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 like constantly no. Anytime I thought it was a yes, it was a no. And I was like, okay, I can't force it. The universe clearly needs me to stick something out here. Maybe I'm here for somebody else. Maybe I'm here for myself. I need to cleanse something. Like, when the time is right, the universe will bring it to me, but I'm just going to take a break from applying for jobs and try and focus on like the now and really wrapping some stuff up so that I can like be in the best place possible for this. So that was a year ago. That was like the last year. That wasn't exactly October. I started to go through a lot of stuff personally, like mid-year. And it was really heavy. I think that's exactly why I was still at my job, because the universe was like, listen, you're better than this. This is something that's been fucking with you. You need to take care of this and confront it and make things right and own it. So I went through that experience and was dealing with that present. Like, I was like, I'm going to face this stuff head on. I'm going to deal with these traumas that I have. And I'm not going to worry about finding a job. I have a job that's really easy right now. So I don't need to be fully present because mentally I was dealing with so much personally. So let's like fast forward, I guess, at this point where I'm just like confronting all this stuff, still hate my job. It's probably like July, August is where I'm saying it probably was. And I was like every single day still going to work, like crushing anxiety. I'd get chest pains. I kept thinking like I had a broken rib or like something was fucking wrong. Like I'd wake up sometimes and be like, I think I'm having a heart attack. Like I never knew that anxiety could like give you these pains in your chest. And I was in like a major rut still. Like I just like wasn't, I feel like I was a zombie. I feel like although I was present, although I was still happy, although I had so much good, it just was like I was on a cloud watching myself go through life, dealing with this anxiety and stress and just still making it through every day. Like, I don't know. I don't even know how else to explain it. So it's probably July or August. And I was like, all right, I think I'm ready to start applying again. And what really helped me get there was me and my other coworker, one of my best friends, Chelsea, her and I worked together at the time too. And we went to lunch with our old coworker that had left. And she was like asking about like, have you guys been able to find jobs? Blah, blah, blah. She was, we were asking her about her job and she was just talking about like the struggles that like, although there's struggles, it's still so much better and blah, blah, blah. And she said something to us at lunch and she's like, you guys need to remember, you're not looking for a long-term job. Like you guys have been at your jobs forever. You don't have to find like this long-term thing. Find a stepping stone so you can get the fuck out of there and get away from this terrible toxic place that you work at that's been like mind fucking you mentally and emotionally for years. Like find a stepping stone that makes sure you can pay your bills and like get the fuck out. And I was like, I hadn't really thought about it like that. Like I grew up in this culture where you're just supposed to stay at a job forever and you're committed to the job and you don't like bounce around. Like you're judged if you have a bunch of job, like if you went to a job and then left. And so I was like, okay, like that's like a light bulb moment. And it was like this motivation moment of like, okay, I can do this. So I was like, I'm going to start applying again. That night or a couple of days later, I got on LinkedIn again, applied for a couple of jobs. Like, I don't even remember what they were. I was just like, all right, I'm just going to start applying for some that seem fitting. The roles might not be exactly like what I think I'm worth or what I deserve, but like if the pay's there and the opportunities are there, like let's just give it a shot, even though it's not like the title, all these things. It's not going to be like this elite badass job that I'd been like working for 10 years to have. So I applied for some jobs, didn't really think much about it. Randomly needed to like go to Blanding because my grandma needed to have like emergency surgery. And I was like dealing with that. And like right as I'm about to leave town, I have this email that's like inviting me to have an interview. And I was like, what is this company? What is this job? I don't even know what it was. I didn't even remember applying for it. And I was just like, fuck it, why not? Like I need the experience to have like, I need to like be confident in interviews. I haven't had a lot of them. So like, of course I'll take it. Looked back into the job and I was just kind of like, I mean, this is a weird posting. Company seems a bit like, I don't know, way different than what I thought I was looking for. But sure, I'll take it. So I go to the surgery with my grandma. I come back, I have this interview and like finally looking into the position and finally looking into the company, I was like, holy shit, like this is actually like a pretty dope situation. Like their posting's weird, but like this is a company out of Vienna, Austria. And like I didn't even understand that when I was applying for it. So I go into this interview, I have the first interview, and I was immediately like, this is going to be my job. Like I knew so deeply that this was going to be my job. And I'd felt that way about one other job that I'd had an interview with. And that one I thought for sure was going to be it. And like something just kept not aligning and I was kind of forcing it and it ended up not working out. And I was like, okay, but I don't want to jinx it because I felt this way one other time. Anyways, long story short, I'm going off on a tangent, but I end up knowing with my whole heart that this was going to be my job. Like I already started like cleaning up stuff in my office. I hadn't even gotten an offer. It was like a 6 interview process. Like it was taking some time. And this is like probably September-ish when this was starting. And it was like every single week was a new interview with somebody else. And I was just like, I already know this is going to be my job. So I'm like wrapping shit up at work, prepping people, like not really saying it, but saying it. I kind of started to get to the point where I was like, I need to let my boss know that I'm going to be looking because he's going to be so shocked if he doesn't know that I'm at least looking. He didn't know I was like already interviewing, knowing that I was going to get this job. And he was like, oh my gosh, like, well, what can we do to fix it? And I was like, I've been trying to talk to you about this for like 2 years of how we can fix it. And like every single time it's like met with this resistance, this toxicity, this chaos of false promises, of never letting me fully have the job that I could do X, Y, and Z. And so it just got to the point where I was kind of leading him on, but also letting him know, like, you need to take me seriously. Like, if I get a job and something comes up, like, I'm going to be taking it, and I don't want to leave you guys high and dry. Like, I've been here for a long time. So meanwhile, I'm interviewing with this company that I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a job at. And it got to the point where I did get an offer, which brought us to October, like, I don't know, like 17th or something. It was around that time. And it was a Friday, and I had my final interview, and I got the offer that day. And I was like, I have to tell my boss, because also they wanted me to start at the beginning of November, which was actually only 2 weeks. And it's actually so unprofessional of me to only give them 2 weeks when I'd been there for like just about 10 years. And I felt really shitty, but I knew that I had to do it. I knew I had to do what was best for me. And I was also going to be out of town for my sister's wedding. And my boss was also going to be out of town for the final week. So it was just like this perfect combination of not good shit that I would like to do professionally, but I knew I needed to do it. Like, I knew in my gut, I always trust my gut. I knew in my gut I had to do it. So I do that. At that time, I'm also dealing with my son, who just turned 18. He's a senior in high school. He's failing school. He's not going to school. He's playing football mostly for me. My sister's getting married. There's a bunch of tension going on. And what else was happening? I was facing that personal issue that I was talking about, having to battle being brave or being a bitch to myself, exposing the traumas that I've been hiding, traumas that were stressing me out, dealing with a lot of really negative and hurtful people saying a lot of stuff to me that was just, honestly, I would say there was a point where some people's words made me like question, like, do I even want to be alive? Like, it was to that extreme level. So that's where I was exactly 1 year ago. So that was a very long story about finding my job, which probably doesn't even matter. I shouldn't have gone on that tangent, but I did. Hold on, now I need a glass of wine or a drink of wine. So that's 1 year ago. I was a total mess, totally uprooting my entire life. I don't do change a lot. And when I do change, it has to be like, I know I'm going to succeed. So it was a very big leap of faith that I was taking. We had just gotten a new house a year ago. We upped our mortgage by getting that new house. Just so many things that I was like, if this doesn't go well, my consistent income is gone. My everything that I do has always been like for my career. And I was just so worried about that. I was worried about my image professionally and personally. I was facing my sister not wanting to be in my life because like drama at her wedding, and I wasn't able to be like the best version of myself. And I was like hurt, but she's normally expecting me to be the person that's like always there saving the day. And I couldn't be because I was breaking inside. Like, I was just not okay. And I just remember like thinking like, this is the lowest I think I have been since I was raped when I was 17 years old. Like, that's how low it was. And I was like, I'm 33 years old. I have all these amazing things. Like, how can I be this broken and this sad and this hurt? And I don't know. It was just a really, really weird period. So at that point, by taking this new job, by cleaning out this job alone, I was able to pivot and completely change like this trajectory in my life. Like, had I kept going at this job, dealing with the false promises, whatever, who knows where I'd be this time this year. I'd probably be almost in the exact same spot I was last year. Like, I wouldn't be any happier. I know I wouldn't have reached any more career success. Like, and if I did, it would have been so like the most basic things. It would have been like having some extra responsibility that actually should have been someone else's job that was making double my salary, just to make sure that it was still getting done. And so that I would be fulfilled, but like it wasn't actually mine. So I know for a fact that like that pivot was exactly what I needed to do. Hold on, let me put my notes in front of me so I don't forget and get off on another tangent. Okay. So what I would say to anyone, like, I think it's so crucial to sit and reflect on how much can happen in a year. Like, if you literally just looked at your camera roll, like, look at the past year, like, start from today and scroll back through all the pictures. I mean, assuming you take pictures or whatever is like your thing, look back and just see how many experiences you've had and pictures you've had and moments of joy or even sadness or just weird ups and downs that you've experienced. And like, I feel like you would be shocked that it has happened in 1 year. And I feel like you'd also be like, holy crap, how come I can't remember all of these things? And like, how do I forget that this happened and it was just barely there? And one of those reasons is because you're so overwhelmed in life and we're dealing with so much all the time that we don't remember so many parts that are good. But I think it's just really crucial to like stop and like analyze where you're at, analyze where you're at now, analyze how you feel, analyze what you want in life, think about where you wish you were or what you wish you could be or anything like that. Stop and think about that literally like right now. Pause the podcast, do it after this, like whatever you need to do. And I think that it's so crucial for people to like stop and take a look at their life, think about the past year and think about where they want to be in just another year, because it literally so much can happen in that year and you can get so far, or you can stay exactly where you are with a few tiny like ups and downs. Like you could literally basically be the same person a year from now, or you could be like, all right, I need to like actually evaluate my life. And when you look at it, think about all these things that I'm talking about. Is it your job? Is it your relationship that you're in? Is it the people you're surrounding yourself with? Like every single thing that's happening in your life is exactly why you're where you're at today. And I think that's what's so crucial. Like if you don't stop and have this really genuine conversation with yourself and be really honest, you will be exactly there next year. And I think that that's so sad. Like I'm so grateful that I took this risk. I'm so grateful that I had the balls and the courage and the bravery to deal with all of these things so that I could be where I'm at today, because I spent so many years doing that same thing over and over and over again. And it just makes me sad that other people are still doing that too. I know it's going to happen again to me, but now I know because I've learned and just did it that I can do it. And I will probably not go so long and waste so much of my time and years and mental health and whatever else, because I have experience now. So while you're doing this, I really want you to think about these things. Is it your job? Is it your husband? Is it your partner? Is it your kids? Is it your boss? Is it your family? Is it like, there's so many aspects. Is it your financial status? Is it whatever it is? And then sit there and think like, what are you actually going to do about it? Like, are you going to just ignore it? Are you going to just pretend it's not happening? Are you going to make excuses for that person, for yourself? Like we do that to ourselves all the time, and we make excuses for others and we make excuses for ourselves. So don't bullshit yourself and like realize that you can still go through really hard things. You can uproot your entire life, still feel like you're falling apart. Like I just told you guys, I literally felt like I wanted to like die. Like, is my life worth living at this point? That's how low I was. And look, I still made it. Like I still was able to be alive. I'm still here to be with my kids. I'm still here to have this badass job that I have. I'm still here to be on this podcast. And I'm still here to have fucking oral mouth surgery and feel like I'm gonna die because my teeth hurt. Like there's just so much. Now I have to have a sip of wine. I'm still here to have a sip of wine. Anyways, you can do all of this while doing hard things personally, professionally, whatever. And I just really want to hit that hard because I know so many people make excuses for this. I've done it. I'm telling you that you can do it and not make excuses and change your life. So with my pivot, with all these things, I went through so many fears. I had so many insecurities. I couldn't find a job. Those were all things that I was facing. Like you're going to be met with roadblocks and you're going to think like, oh, okay, like You're going to either talk yourself out of it because of your fears and your insecurities. You're either going to feel like, okay, everything's just not working out. It's not meant to be. And you're going to give up. So many things. But if you stay true to yourself and you stay true to what you know you want to do, you've identified, for me, identifying that my work was a huge problem was huge. Knowing that this is the problem, it's not me. The problem's not me. The problem was something else. And knowing that I needed to get out of that was super helpful, because no matter when I took breaks or no matter what excuses started to come up, I knew I could no longer be working there. I knew I had to make a change. So I think identifying sources of what's making it so you can't have all these different things like growth, change, happiness, financial security, whatever it is, identifying the source is going to be your number one thing. Oh, I just got this awesome empowerment journal by Robin Arzon. She's a Peloton instructor. Most of my friends actually hate her, but I think she's really great. She's a total hustler and a badass. She's a bit full of herself right now, so that's why they hate her. I still will say that she's great. She does annoy me. Consume to what you can consume. You don't have to love them fully. She has in her journal this career manifestation section, and I was looking at it the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, this ties in directly with like some of the stuff I went through, and maybe it can help some of you. I'm still going to fill it out, because even though I've made a pivot and I have happiness in my career and all these experiences, I also I still have career goals and I still have things that I'm trying to accomplish. So in this career manifestation page or journal section, she has you write out things that you love career wise. Like that was one thing I actually did when I was trying to decide, like, is it my job? Can I find a new job? What kind of job do I want? Identifying the kind of job you want is super important. I had to identify what types of things do I like about business? What kind of things do I like about being a leader? What kind of things do I like about leading my team, being a boss, doing operations? I really had to narrow that down, because when you're searching for a job or you're searching for something that's higher than what you have to identify the things you love about wherever you're trying to send yourself. Then she has you write out things that you're good at. I didn't actually do that, but I can see how that would be really helpful. I'm a baby narcissist, so I feel like I'm really good at a lot of things, especially when it comes to my profession. So that one would have been 16 pages for me, and I wouldn't have had any worries about oh yeah, I could do that. So, but I think that's a good exercise, and I will do it when I do this page for sure. Then the next one is things that you want out of your career. And this one I had to look at too. I didn't phrase it like that, but I was definitely okay, what am I actually trying to achieve professionally? What does 10 years down the road Shelby want to be professionally? And I think it's so important to understand what you want out of your career and how you want to show, how you want every day to feel in your job. Because of my mouth and how hard it is to talk, I feel like I said in my job. Anyways, then there's a little motivation thing that says no challenge, no change. And I think that that's so true. I knew I wasn't being challenged at work. I'd known that for the past 3-4 years. I was getting burnt out. There's a difference of being burnt out challenged or being actually challenged and learning new things. And the only growth I was having or challenges I was having professionally was because I was doing my own learning. I was finding my own opportunities, my own projects, doing what I could to try and amplify myself. Which is it shouldn't be work should be presenting you with more than enough opportunities to challenge yourself and grow professionally and get new skills. And if they aren't, I can tell you that's for sure. You shouldn't be there. You're getting challenged because you're burnt out and you're doing tasks that you're not actually capable of because they're somebody else's, it's too much, whatever. I also want to clarify right here that all these things I'm talking about, I think can literally apply to any part. So whatever it is that you're facing, you could do these reflections and these questions and all of these steps, I would say, very similarly. Okay. So yes, if you're not being challenged, you're not going to change. You'll be at the same place in a year. Then she goes through some other prompts about awareness, reflecting on victories you've had, things that made you feel like you could be proud of yourself and when you could celebrate it, and like identifying dates around that. Like, when was that? How long ago has that been? I think things like that are extremely important to help you narrow things down, and identify, I don't know, just like how much progress and growth you're experiencing and how long it's been since you've felt that way. The next one she talks about is your fear. And that was a huge thing for me. Like, I was so scared to change jobs. I was so scared to lose my freedom, my flexibility. I was at the freaking top. I could literally do whatever I wanted, when I wanted, how I wanted. And sometimes it was really nice. I really needed that flexibility when Henley was very small. Like, she was a baby, she was in daycare, all of these things. And like, I couldn't have a full-time job and a baby. I needed the flexibility of, if she's sick and I need to leave right now, that I can go and my boss is okay with it. I needed the flexibility of like, I'm not going to like lose my job because of X, Y, and Z. And my work really provided that. But when I look back on it, they actually didn't. That's like, they were doing the bare minimum. To me, I just thought it was great because they didn't afford those luxuries to anyone. Like, they were so locked down on stuff. And like, I was thinking I was getting a perk when really that's just like actually the normal thing that a company would do. But other people, they would like give mass amounts of shit to if they weren't showing up to work, or they had to leave work or whatever. So it was definitely like this weird bias that I thought was like flexibility and an opportunity, and it wasn't. It was just like the bare minimum standard that any company would do. So, but those were like some of the fears I had, like leaving my job, not having flexibility, not having the authority, just so many things. Like, I was at the top, and like, although I was so bored, it still feels nice to know that you're like the queen, like that you're crushing it, that you're at the top, that you've been there so long and you've made all of these amazing things happen, and you're like the legend. Like, who wouldn't feel cool about that? However, it's hard to enjoy that when the place is fucked up. So, and if you're not happy, you're going to be like, yeah, I did all this stuff, but also like there's so many things that you guys have no idea about that just aren't worth it. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth so many things that happened to me, but I can only say that now because I'm here today. So your fears. So she has you write down your fears and turning your fears into fuel and how you can push forward. And I wish I would have had this page when I was going through this last year. Luckily, I had a really great friend, Chelsea, who was working there with me. And her and I, like, if I didn't have her, if I didn't have my friend that had left, if I didn't have Taylor, like, I would have been lost. I would have been so lost. But so I think I used them verbally to go through this, but I would have loved to have this page because I could have probably identified things a lot sooner, and how I could like motivate myself and not let my fears take over. And then the next one is talking about moments where you feel like you've been at the rock bottom and how did you rise up? And I love that reflection. I think that that's super helpful to be like, okay, this is where, like I was just saying, I felt so low and I can't believe that I'm here today. Had I like just given in to all of these low feelings, who knows if I would have been here today? And who knows if I would have had all these experiences that I had. So like, it's just really cool to reflect on other times when you felt that low and seeing that you actually have strength to like continue. And then she basically asks you to like write down a bunch of stuff of how you can move forward and change things today. So I don't know. I think that finding something like this where you can like walk yourself through it, journal prompts, really taking some mindfulness and like going inward and having that conversation with yourself. You don't have to have it with other people, but really identifying all of these fears and all of these things and all the problems that you feel like you're facing and how you don't feel like you're where you want to be. It starts with you. It starts with you having these conversations and you putting in the work. Like, if you don't make the changes and if you don't put in the work, if I didn't search for a job, I wouldn't be where I am today. If I didn't try and deal with this thing personally, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have this like peace that I have today. Like, I still have stresses, I still have really bad dreams and anxieties and all sorts of things, but it's so different now than it was a year ago. So I guess all I'm saying in that area is pivoting, doing the work to figure out where you want to be, and taking that risk. Like, you will not change if you don't take these risks. The insights and outcomes, I guess I would say, from all of this, which, like, looking back a year, like, again, I don't even know if this is going to help anyone. To me, I just was like, I really want to share this experience because this last year has been insane and probably one of the most pivotal, life-changing years of my entire life. And I wouldn't have done it had I not, like, really reflected on myself and what I wanted out of life and who I wanted to be at the end of the day. And, like, what I always wanted was to just be happy. I wanted this happy feeling and I wasn't feeling it. So I really think it's important to reflect, take these risks, and then hopefully a year from then you can do what I'm doing, where you can have all these insights and outcomes and share that with other people and help them get to this point too. So my insights and outcomes, my insights are the toxicity at work is insane. Any work, no matter where. Like, I can see it in the work I work in right now. I knew my last job had so much weird, fucked up stuff. I did not realize how much that toxicity was impacting myself fully. Like, I thought I was above it. I thought I could handle it. I thought it hadn't affected me as much as it had affected other people or whatever. And it's just really insane to, like, reflect back and look at, like, oh wow, that was so fucked up. Oh my God, I just remembered this. Or I experienced something at work and I start to get this, like, PTSD of, like, oh my God, is this gonna, like, I don't know, I just go through this weird thing where I suddenly think that that's gonna happen again, or just, I don't know, it's so weird. Anyways, toxicity was real, and it's real in really any company. So I would just really keep your eye out for that in a company, in your relationships. Like, once you remove yourself from something, it's insane how much reflection you have and how much you're like, wow, I can't believe I allowed myself to be in this space. I would never wish this on my kids. So I feel sad that I put myself through it, but I hope I have insight to help them know how to, like, not be in a place like this for too long. Personally or professionally, my brain space, holy crap, I've had so much extra brain space by not having that job, which, again, it was the easiest job. I was never being challenged. I was never feeling, for like the last 3 years, I hadn't felt really any challenges or stressors around that to where I felt like I had to use my brain power. My brain power is being sucked up in drama and burnout and beating myself up and feeling like I was the problem and how can I do more and what can I do to be recognized and all of these different things. And leaving that job, I've had so much brain space. I still was going to school, and that made it easier-ish to go to school, but also not. It was really weird. Like, at first I went through this wave of having a lot of brain space, and then I went through this phase of, like, oh my gosh, like, I went to school because I had the easiest job in the world, and now I have a job that's challenging me every single day, and I have to get back on the computer at night and finish school. So it made it really, really challenging, I guess, to finish school, but it did give me, I don't know, more appreciation for the journey I was on, I guess, and that I was doing it, because school was no problem when I had a stupid job. Challenges. I have had so many challenges up and down throughout this last year, with my kid, with my family, with myself, with my relationship with my husband, with work, with my past work, with friends, so many things. So, like, there's still not good things that happen. I'm not trying to say that, like, everything just becomes fucking peaches and it's going to be great once you make these changes. You're still going to have challenges, and it's still going to be really hard, and you're still going to have to pump yourself up and, like, push through and figure out how to fix these things or get through them, because challenges will stay there. My mood, I so quickly was brought back to, like, the reminder of who I actually am. Like, I'm actually I guess if I was being negative about myself, I would say that I'm salty all the time. It's not salty. I'm just a huge smartass. Like I make the weirdest smartass jokes and I'm very witty and I can be very funny. And I had lost so much of that and it came back so fast. Like I just suddenly had like a better mood and I was lighter. And it's because I cleared up so much bullshit in my life. So that was really fun to see. And also really sad when I sometimes reflect on it of like, wow, bitch, you really lost yourself. Um, this one's a good one. I went through a lot of grief over the last year. Grief for myself, grief for others. And I think I'm still in that. Like I find myself being in really weird depressive states lately. I think it's because I'm at a year right now of going through a lot of these things. And it's weird how like the seasons, and Taylor talks about it a lot, and I've just never really been this aware or this present, I guess, with myself, because she talks about like the traumas your body holds on to and how like the smell of the leaves can remind her of stuff and like weird things. I was just like, I don't get that. Well, I've experienced it now, and I kept wondering what the fuck was going on with me. That last solo episode I think I recorded, I was having this anxiety and I was like, I don't know where it came from. Well, now that I think about it, it's because it was being a year from when I was dealing with all this stuff. And I just like hadn't fully connected that it was happening. So I would say that I'm still in it. A bit unwell sometimes being in it, I would say, if I'm being honest. I'm not loving this part right now. October has been really hard for me. I've experienced insane amounts of growth, I would say, in my personal life and my professional life. I'm really proud of all the growth that I've achieved and the experiences I've been through. I've traveled. I've been to Vienna 3 times. I went to Brazil. I've met the most amazing people that I could have ever met in my entire life. And like, I'm just so happy that I made these decisions, because I would never know these people and I'd never have these experiences, and I would just never have this like light that I feel like is following me right now, this energy that I feel like is just bringing really great things my way. Had I not listened to myself and gave myself what I knew I needed, or I don't know, took care of myself for once, I would not have any of this that's happening right now. And I'm just so grateful that I pushed through, although it was scary, and I just made it happen. I'm truly shocked, probably 80% of the time. I'm just like, how the fuck is this my life? Like, this is just insane. I sometimes just think, little baby Shelby from Blanding, like, how the fuck did you accomplish this? Little baby Shelby who has drug addict parents that abandoned her, who had to live with her grandma at 2, like all of these things. Like, how did this happen to you? So it's just crazy. Another thing I would say too is like, I think it matured me in ways that I don't even really fully understand yet. Jaden and I's relationship has increased so beautifully. And I think part of it is because I was humbled with myself, because it was like, I was raw and vulnerable dealing with really hard shit. And it made me be more human so that I could be more human to him as a 18-year-old child who's also my son. And I'm so proud of myself and I'm so proud of him that we've gotten to this point. It's just crazy. Like, that was one of the hardest things I was dealing with at the time too. And it's like, here we are. And I'm just so grateful for it. And shocked, all the time shocked. Like, he just asked me the other day if we wanted to get matching tattoos. And I was like, absolutely. Anyways, I feel like from at this point, those are like the really big insights and outcomes. I feel like I've been preaching. I feel like this is like the weirdest TED Talk and weirdest episode. So sorry if anyone else feels like this journey is just like not relating to them. But I'm doing this podcast for anybody at all, and also myself. So I hope that this helps somebody feel something. If not, sorry, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. But I do have a few like tips for you guys and an asking for a friend, and then I'm done, and then you don't have to listen to my TED Talk. So I don't have a lot of tips. But one of the biggest things I have is when you're in this moment of reflecting and going through like, who do I want to be? How do I want my life to be? Is it my relationship? Is it my job? Is it this? Is it that? Is it my financial security? Whatever. Because I know you're all dealing with it. I know you all have something. And if you're saying no right now, you're a fucking liar. I know you have something. I know you want to be somewhere that you're not. And I know you're feeling something where you are just not yourself anymore, or you're not happy, or you're not fulfilled, or you know you're not being challenged, or you literally whatever. While you're doing this, I really want you to look at this list, like write it down. Do not just think about it in your head, because if you just think about it in your head, you're going to ignore it. Write it down. And when you look at it, I want you to look at all of these things and truly release anything that isn't serving you. That's been like a theme of my life for like the past 2-3 years, I would say. A lot in the last 2 years, but release the things that are not serving you, because those are only going to hold you back. The amount of times I've let other things hold me back, or people, or their energies, or worrying about them, or worrying about this, I could have accomplished so many other things for sure. I could have taken care of myself, and it's just insane. Release the things that aren't serving you so that you can have the space for the things that you are meant to have. Like, I know for sure I wasn't getting any job opportunities when I first was looking because I needed to release some stuff that like the universe was like, bitch, you got this baggage, you got to get rid of it. Get rid of the things that aren't serving you, get rid of the people, get rid of the baggage, get rid of the traumas, release them, face them, move on, so that the universe can truly bring you so much more abundance. Okay, that's all I'll say on that. Stop with the could'ves, the should'ves, and the would'ves. Like, I could have done this, or I should have done this, or I would have done this had I known this. Like, those are things that are not helping you. Those are things that are like you beating yourself up. They're putting this negative energy and this negative, like, oh, well, I would have done this if this person did this, and I want to do this, but I can't because of this person. Like, whatever. Those are excuses. You should have done this. If you're shoulding, then you should just go do it. Like, literally, the could'ves, would'ves, and should'ves will totally drain all of this, and you'll never accomplish the shit that you need to accomplish, and you'll never reach like the true happiness that you deserve. Like, take care of yourself and stop letting these excuses and other things get in your way. One song that I would say like really fucking amps me up and like helps me with this is called Could Have Been Me, and it's by the Struts. You could also listen to it on what's that Disney movie? I don't remember right now. Sing 2. It's on Sing 2. Don't fully love the Sing 2 version, but whatever works for you. Listen to that song and like truly listen to the lyrics. It really puts shit into perspective, and it like pumps me up, and it's just like, hell yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It could have been me. Like, I don't know. Listen to the song if you need something to like really amp you up. And then the last thing I would say is like, do this for yourself so that you can live a better life. Like, have a better life, live better days, live happier days. Like, life is so short, and we're wasting it away by being in ruts and not taking these challenges, and like letting fear and insecurities really take over. And I just want you to live better days. Like, literally just have better days, because I have them now, and it's really, really cool. And that's pretty much it. I don't even know where I'm going at this point, but I have been asking for a friend, and it's a good one. And it ties right into this. Hashtag asking for a friend. How do you help or deal with a friend who needs to make a change but isn't? We have actually answered this before, and I'm answering it again. You can't really help somebody make a change unless they want to make a change. So you can support them, you can give them advice, you can whatever, you can do work for them, but unless they want something for themselves, they will not do it. It's really hard for me because I go through this a lot with a lot of people actually in my life. Sometimes I'll wait and give them advice. I'll wait and let them figure it out. I'm there as a support, someone they can lean on, someone to pump them up. And I just keep watching them live sad lives. I keep watching them not be themselves, and I keep seeing our relationships change and seeing distance. Sorry, I'm going to get emotional. I don't know, it just changes who they are. And it's really, really sad to watch when you can see like how much potential they have and how much happiness they've had before, and then it's like gone. So sometimes I have to distance myself from them because it's too much when it's negative, 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 and they're super depressed and they're not themselves and they like just bitch and complain. But they won't do anything about it. And so the one thing I would say is like highlight what they could do, help them understand that like this is the thing that is blocking you. This is the thing that's making this probably really severe in your life. You need to change it, and leave it at that. Like they need to change it, but they will only change it unless they want to. They will only stop being toxic. They'll only stop whatever, allowing other people to treat them a certain way. They will only stop treating other people a certain way unless they want to make a change. So you can help them by being a support. You can help them by giving advice. Only give advice if they want advice, because I learned that lesson so many times that I need to start asking, are you venting because you just want me to listen, or are you venting because you want me to help you solve the problem? Because I can always help you solve the problem. I'm really good at knowing what the problem is and how to solve it. That's why I'm an Enneagram 1, and I'm very rarely wrong. So if you need help solving a problem, come to your girl. But yeah, be there until you can't be there, because otherwise it will become your problem. It'll be your weight and you'll be carrying it for them and with them, and that's unfair to yourself. So take care of yourself, be there as a friend, but you can't change it unless they want to change. And if you're listening to this, I hope you guys make changes in your life, because I know you need to. Anyways, that's it. That's my episode. So sorry if it was chaos and doesn't matter to any of you, but it matters to me. And I'm very happy to report that I'm thriving in life right now, although I'm also suffering. So there are better days. And I hope you guys follow our podcast and subscribe. And I hope you subscribe to us on YouTube. And I hope you have a lovely week ahead. And we will talk to you next week. Bye.